Some things just go together. Wine and cheese, flowers in springtime, and yes, books and bottles. We pair your favorite author with your favorite drink. Your host of Books and Bottles, Benita Johnson.
Hello, welcome to Books and Bottles. I am your host, Benita Johnson. Thanks for tuning in tonight to another fun show where we introduce you to your favorite author and we pair his work with your favorite wine or spirit. So tonight we have two amazing guests with us tonight. The first is an actor, a musician, an author, a publisher, and a poet. So tonight we're going to talk about his poetry and introduce you to this award-winning superstar, Mr. Alonzo Gross.
How you doing? Thanks for the
Doing
intro.
well. How are you?
Great. That's a lovely intro. I appreciate it.
Take me on tour with you.
Thank you. So I definitely will.
Welcome to Books and Bottles, Alonzo.
Thank you. I'm great to have me here. Appreciate it.
This book I have with me is called PoemZ for You and Yours.
Correct.
So congratulations on the book.
Thank you.
Congratulations on its awards, and we'll get to that a little bit later in the show. So first, tell us about you. How did you get into poetry?
I was very young. My mother, when I was like maybe 3 or 4, my mother would read Dr. Seuss books to me, believe it or not. And I got into the flow of the cadence and all that. And I loved the imagination, the pictures. And then as I got older, rap music came out. So I fused both of those things together. And then later on, when I studied in college at Temple, I studied English literature. So I wanted to fuse the rap and with the English literature together to make something different. So, but it started at an early age, like around 3 or 4.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Temple, are you from the Philadelphia area?
No, I'm actually from Pennsylvania. I'm actually from more towards the Bethlehem, PA, Allentown, PA area.
Yep. Kind of closer to Amish country.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right.
But I spent 5 years at Temple, so I was there I'm like an honorary Philadelphia resident. I was there for half a decade, so it was a great experience, and it's one of my favorite places to visit. So, but I'm very much
to
my heart. Oh yeah, definitely, definitely.
They can have some brutal winters.
Oh yeah, they do, definitely do.
So, how long? I mean, you said you got into it because your mom read to you. When did you first become a published poet?
I'd say around 2008. Because I first started out doing short stories. Like that's how I first got published in this series called the Staying Sane series. And I wrote like 2 stories in there that got published. And that was, like I said, 2008, 2009. It was called Staying Sane When Your Family Comes to Visit. And then another book called Staying Sane Thanksgiving Dinner. And it was like a compilation book that people put funny stories in there. So that was my first official publishing. But my first official book came out in 2012 with my release of my book, Inspiration and Harmony in the World Within. And that came out in 2012. And actually, I won an award for that one in 2012. That was my first time winning Best Spoken Word Poet for that work. So
okay, that
was my first time. My first soiree into the publishing was 2012.
I could have done a contribution to that book, Staying Sane
and
Giving Dinners. 2 words, don't go.
Oh, yeah. Evelyn Fazio. Yeah, she was the one that, yeah.
All right. So PoemZ for You and Yours. I think it's cute. You use a bunch of Z's. I guess that stands for Zoe, huh?
Well, everybody thinks that, but really it comes from my love for studying, like listening to Tupac. When he made this album called All Eyes on Me. And the Z's there. I just made the Z's capital, but people think has to do with my name, but that's to do with.
It have to do with your name.
Yeah, no, it has to do. It's with Tupac's albums. Like
there are no S's in this book, right?
There's a few sprinkled in there, like a little sprinkle, but it's mostly and like actually the capital because I made the Z's capital. That was an accident. I was doing the Z's and I'm like, oh, I like how that looks. So I'm really into the aesthetics of stuff. But the Z's actually came from, like I said, from looking at Tupac albums, All Eyes on Me and all that stuff. So it came from that. But people do think it's from my name, but that's cool though. Yeah.
In your book, you have it divided in sections.
Yeah.
So tell us about, kind of those different paths that you take in the poetry and how you collected certain ones together.
Yeah, it was challenging because I had to. What I do is I get either I write the poem and get the artwork because this is a poetry and art book.
Mm-hmm.
So either I'll write the poem and again get the artwork that matches that, or I'll get see the artwork and get the poem. But I got all the poems that I wrote, and I got some of the artwork together, and I just started writing. And actually, I wrote the majority of this during the COVID when COVID first hit. So I had a whole lot of time to be at home and reflect. The first section is more like reflecting of like pain and stuff that I was going through, and then the second part has to do with rebirth and getting through that pain. So the chapters they coincide with those two sections, like rebirth and having a revolution of your soul. That's like the second part of the book. But the first book is a lot of pain and a lot of stories about people going through a lot of trauma and things of that nature. So it was I wanted to have some kind of resolution with the book, where it's they start out seeing it one perspective and then coming out of that storm.
Yeah, kudos to you for being able to produce some creative work in that time period, because I think you either got is very polar. You got people who were able to use that time, this very different time in our lives. I don't think we've ever experienced this. Use that time to create, and then there are others like this girl right here, who was just stuck and just, being a social person, I was unable to and still struggling with getting stuff done. So
and actually, I'm sorry, I didn't cut you off. I was going through a little bit of writer's block before this, like before the COVID even hit, and then I saw in an interview with one of my favorite rappers, J. Cole, and he spoke about this book called The Morning Pages and the Artist's Way by Julia Cameron, and she spoke about getting up in the morning and writing just 3 pages of longhand diary, just about your day. And I started doing that, and I came out of my block, and then and that's when I was able to produce the book. And J. Cole made a song called Love Yours, and spelled with a Z, of course, at the end. So that's where I got the inspiration for my book, Poems for You and Yours.
Okay.
It was a thank you to him for introducing me, because I saw that interview he did, and he spoke about that book, the Artist's Way. So it's like a dedication to his song Love Yours, and with the Z's and stuff. But I was very much going through the block, especially when that COVID first hit and the gyms were closed. All my coping mechanisms were closed. The gym, the library. I'm like, oh no. So I did get a block there, but I came out of it, and I was grateful to be able to produce this book during that time. But it was not easy. It was not at all.
Well, because the book, as you mentioned, is an art, it's poetry and visual art. It almost could read as a or sit as a coffee table book, because it's pretty large.
Yeah.
So tell me how you selected the art.
The art, I just saw. I'm on Facebook. I'm on a lot of pages with a lot of artists, like art. There's just people that just do like visual art. And one of my favorite artists on there is a person named Michael Lizé. And I saw his artwork, and I was so inspired by his pictures and how they grabbed me. So I just reached out to him, and he said, "Yeah, you're welcome to use the pictures." And I just would do it that way. I would see old pictures from people that those pages, and I would just reach out and say, "I'm putting a book together." And they were very gracious and let me use their artwork, license their artwork. And then I had one,
because it gets them out there too, when folks are seeing it.
Yeah. And the first poem in the book, my wife also does art, so she did that artwork, and my son, who's 3 years old, did the back cover. He does abstract, so it was a collective. It was all like a team project.
I'm showing off the baby's work.
Yeah. Yeah, we were so proud. I'm like, oh my goodness, and that inspired me too. Like to see that, I'm like, wow, I'm going to put that in the back cover when I do the book.
That's amazing.
And he did that. And my wife did some work in there, so it was a very much a team effort with me and a lot of the artists. And I'm very grateful. But I found a lot of them on Facebook on those artist pages, and I reached out, and
they can be very inspiring. Like one thing that I'm always picking up when I'm out shopping at craft stores and festivals are things that have the tree of life on it.
Yeah,
I like that. And then I saw this work, and it just reminded me. Of the tree.
Yes.
It's just you got the roots at the bottom, then it's a human, it looks human going into it, and then it's like celestial, at the top. So kind of like,
absolutely.
I don't know if that was his intent, but that's
Michael Lizé he just does the art, and he said he just felt in his soul to do that. And I said, well, I have a piece I can write to that, and it spoke to me. A lot of times I'll see the artwork, and the artwork will tell me what the poem should be about. I tell people that a lot. I always feel like the writing per se is like I'm co-writing with, if you want to believe in a God or some type of other spirit. I'm getting out of the way of that creation and let that happen through me. And one of the things that I use is the pictures that let them speak to me and tell their story. But I'm just grateful to be able to translate that, to put it in in the book form.
Okay.
But it's very much a team project for sure.
So closer to the end of our show, I'm going to ask you to read a couple pieces. So start thinking about that.
Absolutely.
But I know that you're also, since we're going to be all about Zoe for the next couple of minutes too. I know you're a musician, and I know we had some challenges scheduling because you're an actor.
Yes, absolutely. I've been acting since I was very young too, like in classes, and I took acting in high school and college theater. My mother does acting and writing, so I got a lot of that from her. Yeah. So I'm going to be in my first film this summer. We're filming in May. It's called Why Didn't I Listen?
Okay.
So it's directed by a friend of mine, Lakia Barnett, and directed by my friend Dilly Santiago. But it's a play about a girl who's going the wrong way in the church, and she's gravitating towards the wrong type of spirits in the church, and I play her uncle that's trying to get her out of that cycle. But it's like a thriller, but it's kind of scary, very informative. But it's going to be very exciting to film that. I'm looking forward to it, and it should be out in theaters either early next year or late this year.
Well, we can't wait to see it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'll make sure we see it, and we advertise it through our channels. So we have a guest tonight who we've been trying to get on the show for a while, and I'm just grateful that she was able to make it. She is our wine madam today, and I met this lady pre-COVID-19 out in California at Event for Women. So I'd like to introduce the lovely Maia Parrish.
Hello.
Hey, Maia. How are you?
How you doing? How you doing?
Well.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Thanks, guys. I know most of y'all are in Illinois. I'm in Colorado, so went to school in Illinois. So,
well, I'm actually in DC. So,
okay. Well, I used to live in DC, so there we go.
Okay. So before we get into the wine that you're drinking tonight, Maia, tell us about you. I know you're doing some phenomenal things in the wine space.
Okay. So I live out in Durham, Colorado. I'm a full service sommelier, which is a wine steward. Usually wine stewards work in a restaurant on the floor. I do not. I have my own. I do an in-house wine concierge service within Denver and consult. I'm a writer. During COVID, I became a writer. So for Vine Pair and locally in Colorado, I write for some local magazines. And then, but I produce a wine event out here in the fall called Night in Wakanda. And we work with the Wines of South Africa Association. We work with our albanale out here. It's called Cleopatra Robinson. And we do it. We have a dance. So we have a grand tasting, and we have a dance and fashion show, and then we have a party every year. We work with the Denver Arts and Cultural Center, and we hopefully will get our grant again this year for our year 4. So, I'm doing wine, and so me and Miss Benita met out. California's like my second. It will be my second home. I didn't want that, but that's where we're at now because I'm there all the time. So, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here, and definitely I want to try and catch that fall event. So we'll talk about dates and everything a little bit later. Okay. So what wine did you bring tonight?
So it's funny because there was a lot going on. I initially picked another wine, but the day before yesterday, I also have a notary company. So I went to do a job, and I was at a local store called I want to get the name wrong. PoemZ Fine Foods, and ran into a woman I met on the internet sorter. Her name is Miss Kelly, and she Miss Carrie. Anyway, She was working in a store. I just happened to be there. They had a cava called La Poema. How appropriate.
Yes.
And cava is a sparkling wine. It's sparkling wine for Spain. So it's made the same way as champagne, but they use their indigenous grapes. So I picked up the bottle just not knowing that, well, sort of not knowing, because initially we were doing another guest. So I researched that person, but I think it's appropriate. So cheers to you guys both. Yeah, I'm drinking a Spanish. It's a rosé. So rosé is pink. It's not like white Zinfandel or sweet. Rosés are drier style, right? This bottle retails for like between $13 and $15. Cavas are they're produced the same way as champagne, but they're much cheaper because they're not produced in that region of Champagne. And Champagne is like a state within France. If the wine comes from the state of Champagne, if you can look at it like that, then it's Champagne. But if it doesn't come from that area, it's not Champagne. But cava that's the sparkling wine for Spain. So I thought that was appropriate.
And I love the body of cava. It seems like, heavy, a little heavier. And it does, for those who like mimosas, I think it's perfect.
Well, see, listen, don't start with me and mimosa. Me and mimosa, we are challenging. Because first of all, just depends on what's wine. I always ask, what's in there? Because
I don't like orange juice that much, but I'm just speaking to the people who drink mimosas.
Yes. I think that cavas are a great way to experience different sparkling wine or just sparkling wine. They make it white or rosé, right? This one is made from indigenous grape in Spain. There's a lot of regions that are like, what do we have here? Okay. And the grape that they're using is called the Tripet, Trepat. It's 100%. Cava is usually made with 3 grapes, just like, champagne is a blending kind of thing. So I thought, I thought it was appropriate because you have a style that's blended. You do rap, you do poetry. I love that so I used to love British literature because, that's how they indoctrinated us, right? Anyway.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I love Shakespeare, but I also love medieval literature. I love poetry. When I saw that you wrote this book in a style of Shakespearean style, right? The bard. Kind of like, I thought that was very interesting. It would be, it was like a hip hop opera, right? Opera. They had a tragic one, but I wish somebody would bring that back. I don't know if it's alley, but let me give you some pointers.
It's like, put it in the universe.
Let's bring it out. But that would be great because, I think that cavas and champagnes are a mixture, and your artistry is a mixture. I mean, you have your son. That was dope. That you said he did cover. I'm like, well, let me think. With my daughter, she was doing some art, and I'm working on a book I didn't even know existed in me. So hey, let me think about that.
That's right.
So,
yeah.
Well, thank you. You want to hang out with us? Thank you. Thanks for being on. But I just want to let folks know there is one rule. If your projects turn into film, I have to be in it. That's the only rule.
I got you.
Don't give me lines because I won't memorize it. Just I could just sit there and be quiet and smile, or just let me ad lib a couple lines. All right.
Got you. Got you.
And somebody said and drink. I can do that too.
Yeah. Cheers.
You guys have live viewers?
No, so we're taped. So we air on Sundays.
I was about to say,
it's Sunday right now.
All right.
So Zoe.
Yes.
Give us your favorite. Well, I know this is hard. It's like your book is a whole bunch of kids. So give us one of your poem that you want to share with us.
Sure. Well, I'll share this one I wrote called So Very Real to Me. I actually had a dream that I was flying, and I got up and wrote this poem. So it's called So Very Real to Me. Had a dream I was in flight, like that of an eagle, decadently regal, amidst the luminous stars at night. 'Twere as if I were a blur, yet I could see things clear. Thence mine spirit began to stir, whilst myriad beauty did appear. Knowing 'tis surreal, even still, euphoric sky set I free. Verily I say, it seems so very real to me. As night turned to dawn, I spoke of to the sun. She answered with her warmth, a love that touches everyone. Overlooking highest mountains, I bared witness to the sunny springs. Soaring with wind-drenched wings, I drank at the cool water of cascade fountains, where many a bluebird sings. Tears within mine eyes, whilst I awoketh refreshingly free. For 'twas a gift of God to kiss the clouds, and swoopeth down upon blue sea. Wherefore, and verily again I say it unto thee, 'twas a glimpse of heaven, though merely a dream, it all seemed so very real to me.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you
sharing
so much.
that. It was a good one.
Thank you so much.
So we became acquainted in the Black Authors Network on Facebook, I believe.
Yeah.
And I think in that, well, since the time we became acquainted, I know you were recently awarded with an award. Tell us about that. Well, congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much. It was around, I guess it was around April 5th. It was the same night as the Grammys. I had got an email. I was like sleeping. My wife said, "You won some award." And I'm like, stop trying to get me to get up from my nap. I'm trying to take a nap. She said, "No, I'm serious. You won." I said, "You just want me to get up and clean." I was getting all mad. She said, "You won an award." And I looked, and I submitted my book to this thing called the Book Fest Awards in Los Angeles, and I won first prize in Book of the Year for my poetry. So I'm like, wow, she wasn't lying. I really won. So that was awesome. I won that.
When is it?
Oh no, it passed. It was April 5th.
Oh, okay. Look, I'm
won.
in LA now. A lot.
Oh yeah, LA. Oh yeah, it passed. But they had the book. It was on Times Square, and I didn't even know it was on Times Square in the building there, out there. And I got a chance to be in the national news the very next day on WFMZ, and I got interviewed for that. So that was awesome. But it just happened so fast, but they're sending me the trophy in the mail. We couldn't be there in person because of the COVID restrictions right now.
Yeah.
But they're sending me like it's a trophy that has the name of the book and the title, and it says Poetry of the Year. So I was so grateful for that. I will.
Take a picture.
I definitely will. It's on its way now. So, but yeah, it was the same night. I was very grateful. It was the same night as the Grammys. I'm like, she's just trying to get me to wake up from this nap. But it was sure enough. It was there. I had the certificate that showed me. I'm like, wow, really? Because I do it just for the love. When I win, that's extra. That's very, like I said, I'm very gracious. And this is my second award. The first one I won was in 2012. But
Okay.
just 10 years later, I got another one. So I just kept at it. But you really don't notice those things. Go ahead.
So was that for a poetry book as well? And if so,
It was.
I asked you, how many poetry books have you written?
That was my first poetry book called Inspiration, Harmony in the World Within, released in 2012. This book, Poems for You and Yours, is my third book.
Okay.
My third book. So I'm working on my fourth right now. It's going to be a children's book that adults can read with them. So it's going to be like a fantasy type. But we're still working through that. My wife's doing the majority of the artwork, but I'm collecting art and getting that ready for Christmas time. So, but that'll be my fourth book. And that book, my fourth book, is going to be released on my wife and I's own publishing label called Steve Royal Publishing. So I'm very excited about that, to be publishing in my own label. So that's coming out very soon. So,
Now, how
but
long
yeah,
have you been publishing?
we just started our publishing label actually this year, Steve Royal Publishing, and we're publishing other artists as well, any genre. We're doing like my cousin's doing a hood novel, and we're doing someone else's poetry book. We're doing rappers, lyrics books. We're doing whatever the genre. We're welcome for everybody. So we're just looking to give back.
May I ask you a question? About the I have a twofold question. One, since we're talking about publishing, what made you want to go out an independent route? My sister has a book. She's like the Octavia Spencer that nobody knows about, right?
Yeah.
And so Octavia Butler, my bad. Okay. And then I'm never writing anything, right? Unless it's 160 characters. But it seems as if God was like, we're going to do something else. And so I've been on this journey about some things, right? And I've been reading articles. Why did you guys decide to start a publishing company, independent, really quickly? And then tell us, how is it difficult? And then are you taking everybody? Because then I'll be like, how you doing? Maybe my
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm always open.
Yeah, my wife and I, we both have 3 books of peace out. We published with our friend from Canada through Subterranean Blue Poetry, it's called. And we learned a lot from working with her. And then we saw the challenges that could occur, but we learned a lot as well. So our main goal was to not only be able to publish our stuff, but to help other people get their books on the actual shelf. It's one thing to be published, but it's another thing to have your books on the actual shelves. And that's what I'm grateful that our books now are on the shelves in Barnes & Noble all over the world. And it was
Wow.
thank you. So it was going through that and seeing the process. I'm like, I want to be able to help people that aren't real fluent in talking with publishers. We want to make that bridge so they can talk to us. And like my cousin, he been sitting on this Hood novel for over like 15 years. He was in prison, and he came out, and he was afraid to talk to publishers. But we're family, so he's able to talk to me about what he wants, and I don't edit his stuff. I keep it nice, I keep it raw for him. And other publishers, he was afraid they weren't going to do that. They turned him down a lot.
That genre sells like crazy.
Yeah.
People
So we're
love
helping them. Yeah, it does.
I just
Yeah.
joined the Facebook group because I'm nosy and curious.
Oh
It
yes,
means
it's
I
a
have
good place to
I have
be.
I have a cookbook, but I have a documentary, but I have a movie. I don't know if they'll be birthed, right?
Yeah.
But I have these things in me. So I sit in the groups and I listen. And I'm like that, the Black Arthur Facebook group is, I have learned so much.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
Right.
effective.
Um,
It's a good
I
place
used to
kind of
dabble in
listen.
poetry because, we're artists, at the end, wine and food. I'm a Pisces.
Yeah.
I don't know if I need to say a lot more than that. Sometimes people get it, right? So I'm about the arts. I consider myself I'm like Nina in the Love Jones. I'm a sort of Renaissance person. So like I said, the barb of it all, the hip hopera, as I call it, right?
Yeah.
You doing a poem in that. And I would, if you can, because people may not understand what we mean, can you read like 2 lines when we get to that part? But did you find in being on your own, you worked with a publishing house in Canada, but then you guys decided to start your own business because with the challenges. As a person of color, do you find that was like, there's nothing here for us, or we need more representation, and I want to control my message?
We wanted to control the narrative. We wanted to be able to, like I said, reach out to people that otherwise wouldn't have their books out there. Like I said, my cousin was sitting on this book for a while, but he was hesitant to go to any publishing people because of the nature of what he wrote. It's very graphic. It's very graphic. It's very real. He was in prison. And he talked about his life outside of prison, and he got turned down by a lot of people, or they over edited his stuff. They wanted to edit this and edit that, his language and his slang. And we wanted to be able to have someone they can, that we can talk to. We can talk to and have the books come out. And then, like I said, have the books be out there visible on the shelves. And again, like I said, we wanted to make sure they didn't have that hesitancy to reach out. And he said he'd been sitting on this for a while. And then when he saw that I had my book out on the shelves, that's when he reached out to me. And it was just the right timing to do that. So it was just a matter.
So I need one more poem from you before we go. Did you find
okay?
You want to share?
I got one. Yeah, this one's more like the rap part, And
right.
before I go, I wanted to say, I want to give a shout out to Sonia Sanchez. She was like my professor at Temple.
Okay.
She was my mentor, my professor. She was the one that she listened to a lot of Tupac, and she had us analyze Me and My Girlfriend, one of his songs. So she's the one that was telling us, if you want to combine your poetry with this literature, that would be awesome. And I took that advice and I ran with it. But she was the one that really got me thinking about that as well. So I didn't mention that before, but this poem.
While you're reading, we're gonna put on the screen where folks can get your book.
Sure. All right. It's available at Barnes and Nobles, Amazon.com. It's like I said, it's worldwide. It's in any bookstore in your area should be in there. So this one's called.
People buy the book or download it online. What is the preference of the art? I never understood what the preference of the artist. You don't care as long as somebody ingests it, or do you prefer the actual written word in their hand?
Oh, it doesn't matter to us. I mean, it's available on Kindle and ebook as well. So I had a few people that wanted to have an ebook.
To buy the book.
Just buy the book. And I'm working on the audio book for this Christmas too. So I'm going to combine the music, have it like a movie where I'm acting out the poems and have some hip hop music in it. So we're working on the audiobooks for people that want to hear that too. But it doesn't, however they want to get it is fine with me though. However they want it.
ZoMusicFanpage.com. Folks gonna go visit. So
This one's called Experience. And like I said, this is more of a rap.
Okay.
I've been there, done that, ran away just to run back. Cause the smallest things can get under your skin like a thumbtack. I found that, then lost that, caught that, then tossed that. Ego trips had me burning bridges, couldn't cross back. I thought that, dismissed that as chit chat. Never listened to my intuition in my gut like a six-pack. I used to see red and spew that. True fact. Didn't know my own self in the mirror. Dog, who's that? Made mistakes, then I had to redo that. Said yes when I should have first reviewed that. Lost my mind. Where was my head at? Girls crying, saying, can't believe you said that. Way back when someone tried to feed me food for thought I was too full of myself when I should have ate that. But hey, Jack, you live and you learn that life is priceless. Experience is the best payback. That was called Experience.
Experience is the best payback.
Love that.
Yeah.
I don't know how old you are. I'm 48. Okay. So
you got 10
seconds now understanding that it's
10 seconds.
Experience is the best payback.
Absolutely.
Thank you both for being on the show. Zoe Music Fan Page is how you can get in touch with Alonzo and Maia. Your website is
bioside.com/The Wine Suite.
Thank you so much to you both for being here. To our viewers, we thank you. If there are authors who like to be on the show, please hit us up at info@GROSPROD.com. We'll get back with you. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it. I'll see you, Ms. Parrish. Take care.
Bye-bye. See you later. Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye-bye. Home for COVID? Join us, Indie TV, where you will see the talk shows, movies, drama, action, and comedy. Be the first and see it first. Sign up now for free at Indie TV.